Okay, story time. I've been debating whether or not I should make this video or how I should make it, but I figured it might help somebody, so maybe I should. And I wrote some notes down because I really wanted to make sure I got this all right. So a little over a month ago, on July 2nd, I was fired from my job at Disneyland. I worked for the accessibility services team. Why was I fired? Was it because I was late or didn't show up for my shifts or, because I cussed out a guest? No, I will tell you what happened. I joined the accessibility services team when it first launched back in June of 2024 because I wanted to help people. I had worked at Disneyland since 2013, and I'd seen firsthand what that place meant to people, especially to those guests with family members that have disabilities. I had many parents tell me that Disneyland was the only place where their nonverbal child came out of their shell. So when they announced an entire department dedicated solely to accessibility, I knew immediately I wanted to be a part of it. But over time, it often felt to me like the focus wasn't always on helping as much as I thought it could be. Now, I completely understand that the system has been abused and that there needed to be changes. But in my opinion, the corrections went too far. And sometimes people who genuinely needed support were left with very limited options. For guests who didn't fit neatly into the DOS guidelines, we were often directed toward another option called queue re-entry. Unlike DOS, which was digitally attached to a guest's ticket, so any attractions cast member could scan and see it, queue re-entry was purely a word-of-mouth process. We would explain how it was supposed to work, and then the guest had to communicate that at the attraction. The challenge was that there was nothing in the system for the cast member to scan or verify, so sometimes it broke down. I had so many families that came back to me later in the day and said things like, we tried to do exactly what you told us this morning, but when we got to the attraction, the cast member said, oh, we don't do that here, or I don't know what that is, your whole party needs to wait together in line, there's no rejoining. To me, it felt like a frustrating case of the left hand not knowing what the right hand was doing. I do want to point out, however, that queue reentry wasn't always a failure. I also did have guests tell me that it worked exactly as designed and that every cast member they encountered was knowledgeable and helpful. But even when it worked perfectly, it still meant that the majority of the party had to wait in the standard queue while the person needing assistance waited outside until they got a call or text from their family or party to rejoin. In larger groups, that sometimes worked fine, right? Because the guest needing assistance could just wait with other members of their party while the majority held the spot in line. But in smaller families, it was much harder. Now, one example that still sticks with me was a veteran dad who struggled with severe PTSD, especially in crowded indoor spaces. His young daughter wanted to celebrate her birthday at Disneyland, so he came along even though it was very difficult for him. They were a family of 4, mom, dad, and 2 girls under 10. I consulted with my lead and was told that DOS was not the appropriate service, and instead I was instructed to explain to them about queue re-entry, and in this particular case, we could also give them 1 or 2 readmissions, which, if you don't know, were basically the equivalent of the old fast pass system, just without the time window and only for a specific attraction. The family accepted it, but the dad said to me, this is frustrating because I came to you for help and talked about a part of my life that is very difficult for me to discuss, and you're telling me I have to spend most of the day separated from my wife and kids while they wait in line, and I, sit on a bench and wait? On my daughter's birthday? I expected better from Disney. And I'll be honest, that moment, it hit me really hard. To be clear, it's not like I was just a bleeding heart handing out DOS to anyone and everyone who asked for it. If there were other viable solutions besides DOS that I could recommend, that's what I did. The official definition, which I'm not giving away any trade secrets, you can find this right on Disneyland's website, is as follows. DOS is intended to accommodate those guests who, due to a developmental disability like autism or similar, are unable to wait in a conventional queue for an extended period of time. To me, that autism or similar phrasing left some room for interpretation. And sometimes I tried to use that flexibility to do what I thought was right for the guest in front of me. Eventually, management and I did not see eye to eye on this. They felt I was bending the rules too much, and I felt like I was just trying to take care of people. It's that disagreement that cost me my job. I had raised concerns about the flaws in this system more than once, and I don't know if that played into the timing of when I was let go, but I'll admit that it made it extra painful. I want to also be clear, the cast members I worked with in the department were amazing. They were compassionate, caring, and it breaks my heart, but I can't tell you how many times I saw one of my fellow Accessibility Services cast members backstage on their break in tears. And come to find out, it's because they had a really difficult conversation with a guest. They wanted to be able to help them. They knew that we should be doing more, but they were restricted by the guidelines that were in place. All they really wanted to do was we all just wanted to give the guests the help that they deserve. And whether it was myself or seeing one of my friends or coworkers, it just broke my heart. For me, one memory that I will never forget is from the first week we were open. A guest gave me this little crocheted Baymax after I helped them. They said that no one had ever been that kind to them, and they wanted me to have it. I carried it in my pocket every single shift as a reminder of why I was there to help. So yeah, this past month and a half has been really tough. I poured so much of myself into Disneyland, but if there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Always take care of yourself first. Always do what you know is right in your heart. Because at the end of the day, whether it's Disney, Walmart, Amazon, any corporation, they're businesses. Their job is to make money. It's why they exist. And if you let a job push you into compromising your morals or your values just to stay employed, speaking from experience, it takes a toll. I hope that this helps someone out there who's in a similar spot. Don't lose yourself. Don't let a company convince you that your worth is only what you contribute to their bottom line. Take care of yourself and stay true to who you are. Thank you for listening.